Yeah, they made you believe that the banks of America had to be bailed out. In order to do it, they created the real estate crisis. Then with all of these derivatives that were out there, the banks of America were in trouble. They told you as a taxpayer, oh, you've got to bail them out. If you don't, we're going to have another depression. Well, you're going to have another depression anyway, whether they bail them out or not. And did you realize that you, the American taxpayer, had paid the bills for the elite by bailing out the banks of the United States of America and GM and Chrysler?
Well, it was a setup. I mean, they mean to bankrupt GM and Chrysler and move them to Brazil and places with the bailout money. But, I mean, the banks are bragging that they're keeping the money to buy up other banks and insurance companies. It's a total scam.
Now, folks, you've got to believe this because I told it on Alex Jones' show on July the 28th, not because Lindsay Williams had the knowledge of this.
Lindsay, I had you on because I got the exact same info 2 years before that at Bilderberg. That's why I knew, plus you've been accurate in the past. I mean, we're going off what the globalists say and do. I mean, I got arrested going up there trying to cover it. You know, we go through hell and high water to bring people this information.
Let me give you an example that maybe would come down to home, because I know some of you sitting out there right now still mind-boggled saying, can this guy possibly know what he's talking about? Okay, let's take a simple thing like your house mortgage. All right, you buy a house. You take it on a 30-year mortgage. You go down and get a loan, and that loan is guaranteed by Fannie and Freddie. All of a sudden, you've paid on the house for 15 years, and a financial crash comes like we're having right now.
Stay there. Let's cover it when we get back. Stay there. And George Soros, straight ahead with Lindsay Williams. Happening, and just keep warning people and warning folks. And yeah, tens of millions worldwide listen, but it isn't enough. And more people are listening every day and finding out we're telling the truth. But it's scary to admit the truth. All I can tell you, listeners, is we're in a lot of trouble. But what the elite are doing is so over the top, so criminal, that if we just speak up and stand up and say no, we can beat them. Now, we're going to go to your phone calls here in a few minutes. I want Lindsay to finish up with a story he was telling about your house mortgage as a parable or an example. But first, I wanted to play this brief clip of George Soros. It's up on YouTube. It's from the Davos Globalist Switzerland meeting, economic forum a few weeks ago, where he's being interviewed on international television. He admits that oil is being used as a weapon and that it's destroying all these different economies. Now, the clip's long. We're just playing a clip of it. You can just Google George Soros admits oil as a weapon and watch the whole clip. But here it is.
Bursting. However, it's not all bad news, because the major oil-producing countries have been the enemies of the prevailing world order: Venezuela, Iran, Russia. And it's not so easy to finance a Bolivarian revolution with $40 oil. So I think Venezuela is Chavez, probably his days are numbered. And in Iran, I think that he's not going to last a year. I may be wrong, but I mean, he's under considerable duress, and his influence is going to decline. In Iran, Ahmadinejad is up for elections in 2009, and unless he can provoke some incident, or I think that he's liable to also be defeated, and you may have a more reasonable regime with whom you can. Now, Russia is more troubling, because there, you see, Putin has been using oil for a number of reasons to. All
right, let's stop right there. You can go watch the whole clip if you want, but these countries are going against the New World Order, and so they've got to be dealt with. But remember, it's going to kill you as well, because these countries can't buy our T-bills. They can't prop up the debt anymore. This is the bankers going out and bad-mouthing the world economy, saying we're in a depression, to artificially implode it so they can consolidate. That's the banker game. It's now in congressional testimony that the banks engineered the 1929 crash. Lindsay Williams, please continue.
This person told me back 8 months ago, and you remember me saying this on your show, Alex. It just was brought to my mind by what George Soros just said. Iran. He said to me, right at the time that everybody was predicting, even I was saying, we're going to have a war with Iran. America, Israel, somebody's going to invade them. No. This individual said to me, we do not want to go to war with Iran. I said, well, what's going to happen?
No, you said that on air almost 7 months ago. You were right. Yeah. You said, no, they're going to bankrupt them with oil. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, he said oil. We're going to bankrupt them. That's exactly what George Soros just said 8 months later. And I was told it by one of the people who knows everything that goes on behind closed doors. Okay, go back to your house. There's so much to say, Alec. I'm having to talk as fast as I can. I know we're running out. Okay, your house, 30-year mortgage. You pay on it for 15 years. All of a sudden you have a financial crash like we're having right now. You haven't seen anything yet. You think this is bad. You wait till 6 to 9 months from now, folks.
And it's not going to stop until we arrest the bankers. It's not going to stop until we take our country back.
You're exactly right. And it's going to be programs like yours that see it brought back, because the only thing that these people fear is the masses waking up, and that's what you're doing for them, Alex. Okay, 30-year mortgage. You pay on it for 15 years. What did that banker give you when you bought that house? They gave you a piece of paper. They did not give you gold or silver. They gave you no tangible objects whatsoever. They paid no collateral, but you did, and you gave them that house as collateral. Okay, you pay on it 15 years. You have a crash. You lose your job. All of a sudden you can't pay on your house. After 3 months of you being behind on your mortgage, they come in and repossess. What do they give you back for that house? Nothing. Positively nothing. But you have paid them for 15 years for that house. You have paid the elite through the banks that are now owned by them because the Treasury has bailed them out and totally controls them, and they have everything to gain by getting that house back because they pay you nothing for it when they take it back.
Well, did the baby boomers think the elite were really going to let them have all this money they put in a 401k? Obama's getting rid of all these 401k rules, mortgage tax deduction rules. They want you bankrupted. They're cold-blooded. They financed Hitler, Stalin, and Mao. Finish up, Lindsay.
The elite will own, please, folks, listen to me. The elite will own the banks of America when all this is over. They will own the majority of the real estate of the United States of America, because when you can't make your house payment, they come and get it back.
And they're going to use high taxes to drive everybody else out of their houses. This is not they don't want to help the economy. They want to wreck it.
Well, sure, it's to their advantage to do.
We have all their banking association documents. It's incredible. They're criminals. In fact, stop there. And then I want to plug your DVD for folks and go to calls, because this is too important.
The banks of America get that real estate back. And who is it that owns the banks of America now? Because the Treasury bailed them out. Your great-great-grandchildren paid for the elite to get your house after you've paid for it for 15 years and put you out on the street, and now that bank has them, the nations of the world.
Stop right there. But to buy up real assets, they cut off liquidity to the real economy worldwide, crash the world to destroy the economy, and then $9.7 trillion later, the banker bailout was really a banker takeover. Congress says, where's the money? And they're told, we're not going to tell you. And then the head of the private Federal Reserve lies and says it's on our website. Senator Sanders says, no, it's not. And then the head of the Fed admits, we're not going to tell you where the money is. Bloomberg headline, Fed refuses to release bank data, insist on secrecy. Here is that clip.
Absolutely extraordinary that I wrote you a letter and I said, hey, who'd you lend the money to? What were the terms of those loans? How can my constituents in Vermont get some of that money? Who makes the decisions? You guys sit around in a room. Do you make it? Are there conflicts of interest? So my question to you is, will you tell the American people to whom you lent $2.2 trillion of their dollars? Will you tell us who got that money and what the terms are of those agreements?
We explain each of our programs. In terms of the terms, we explain the terms exactly. We explain what the collateral requirements are. We explain what.
To whom did you explain that?
It's on our website.
Yeah. Okay.
So all that information is available in our commercial paper program.
And who got the money?
Hundreds and hundreds of banks. Any bank that has access to the U.S. Federal Reserve's discount.
Can you tell us who they are?
No, because the reason that is counterproductive and will destroy the value of the program is that banks will not come to the discount.
Isn't that too bad?
Sorry?
In other words, isn't that too bad? They took the money, but they don't want to be public about the fact that they received it. We heard a whole lot about AIG. They're in the front pages.
These are very.
Now, I got banks and I have businesses in the state of Vermont who are in a lot of trouble. Not banks. Our banks, by the way, are doing pretty well. Now, how do these guys who are honest business people get it? Do you have to be a large, greedy, reckless financial institution to apply for these monies?
There is no subsidy. There is no capital involved. There is no gift involved. It is a collateralized, short-term liquid loan that is both over-collateralized and is recourse to the company itself. We have never lost a penny doing it.
And how can other institutions get those loans as well?
All right, that's enough.
According to
all lies. You're paying for it all with interest. The private banks loan back. in the $787 million stimulus package, really the federalization package of the states. They loaned it back at interest to the American people. It's all secret. And you heard Bernanke there to U.S. senators saying, you don't get to know, and the Federal Reserve is private. It's only going to get worse until you recognize who the criminals are, and the private banks admit they have Northcom and the military standing by, threatening Congress with martial law if they don't follow orders, and that the president is a dictator. Lindsay Williams.
Well, Alex, this is the mindset of the elite. You have done a masterful job of presenting it to the folks out in your listening audience today. And, folks, now listen, here's the latest, and this is final. I'm going to stop with this and then go on to whatever Alex wants to do in the rest of the program. We've got so much more to give. But the Treasury of the United States must sell. Now, this is as of Friday of this week. The Treasury of the United States must sell $450 billion of T-bills a month to fund the new debt this year through September the 3rd.